I'm going to read one of my plays that I sent out in 1997 and in 1998 at the La Mama Experimental Dinner Theater up in New York City. They put the play in a developmental workshop, and they try to work it, because what I did was I only wrote 20 pages of the play, and I was thinking of making it a longer play. And I actually I was going to make a longer play with 3 characters. It starts off with 2 characters, and then it would go into 3 characters. And so sort of we went back and forth with it. I was living in New Jersey at the time, and I traveled to New York City, and I actually was a member. It was really for performance art, but anyway, I was part of. It was called the Field, FIELD, and we would work things out through stage readings and cold readings. And I can't remember her name. I think her first name was Ellen. I'm not positive. Don't hold me to that. But she had referred me to a gentleman that was actually he was a prop master. He directed how the props would move onto the stage, off the stage, during the performance, behind the characters, whatever have you. Anyway, pretty much a stage manager. And anyway, referred me to him, which I had a play done by La Mama Experimental Dinner Theater back in 1990, but it was an extremely short play. And so through him, I wound up at La Mama, and with this particular play I'm going to read. And so anyway, I went into a developmental workshop, and I don't know, it lasted for about 6 weeks or so. And I don't know, it just sort of, well, they were interested in it, but because I was dealing with a very abstract subject matter, which they actually liked in a way, but as I was thinking about it, I didn't think I could carry it for as a longer play, because I was afraid it would bore the audience. And so I tried to work at it and try to make it longer, and I wound up, I think it was like about 42 pages I think I got to, and then I scrapped that. And I don't know, it just didn't go anywhere, unfortunately. And but at least it went into a workshop, but it just never went past that. And sometimes that happens in theater. Anyway, but this was I'm going to read the original 20 pages of this play that was, like I said, was going to be a longer play, but just never. I don't know. Maybe I sort of gave up on it. I don't know what it was. It was kind of weird. I don't know. It was 1998, so it's a long time ago. I don't know what I was really thinking, but I just didn't follow through with the project, so it never went anywhere. And so anyway, I'm going to read it. It's only 20 pages long. It's very abstract. You might get it, you might not. And so I'm just going to read it. And like I say, I'm not an actor, but I'm going to try the best I can. It's only dealing with 2 characters. Like I said, it was going to be 3 characters, but I wound up just not doing really much with the play, extending it any longer. And so I'm just going to read the first 20 pages that I originally submitted. And it's only 2 characters. Anyway, it's called Pageless. And the player's Niles. He's desolate, and he's 25 years old. And Caroline is hopeless and 25 years old. The scene takes place in a bathroom and lawn, and the time is surreal. Act 1, Scene 1, setting, bathroom, tub, toilet, window. Act Rise, day. As the lights fade up, we see Niles sitting on a toilet. He is staring at a manual typewriter which sits on the rim of the tub. Caroline's head pops up. She has her chin in her hands with elbows on the window pane. She stares at him. Now it starts off with Caroline, and then it goes Niles, and then after a while I'm just not going to say the names. And Caroline says, well, what you got there? Niles, nothing. Who are you? Caroline, so you're going to type something? Niles, maybe. Caroline, how long have you been sitting there? Niles, it's my home. And now I'm just going to... You live in a bathroom? I don't see it quite that way. Where do you sleep? He nods toward. In there. The tub? Where do you sleep? In a bed. Where do you eat? He nods toward. In there. The closet? Why don't you turn about face and march yourself home? I am home. He stands. He peeks out of the window. He looks both ways. He turns to her. I never saw you in my entire life. She points. See that? That's my home. You mean your bed. To you a bed, to me my home. How old are you? 52. You're not 52. How do you know? I just know. More around my age. Do you live alone? Yes. So you're going to type? He turns to the page typewriter. He stares at the page typewriter. I should. Have you ever typed? He sits on the toilet. You don't have to answer. She reaches her hand through the window. For me? He takes her hand. He climbs out the window. He peers around. Come, let me show you. She holds his hand as she walks him over to the bed. Caroline and Niles sit on the bed. See, I've the perfect view of the sunny sun. You're new to the neighborhood. I've been here all my life. And why didn't I notice you? Maybe the sun was in your eyes, stupid. Maybe. If you look directly at the sun, it will blind you, stupid. He slaps her upside the head. Say that again. Say what again? He stares at her. He and she giggle. You made me giggle. It's good to giggle. I can make you cry, too. I've done too much of that. See over there? Where over there? That. The lake? Yeah. My whole family drowned in that lake. Really. Haven't seen them in ages. He bounces up and down on the bed. Let's go for a ride. I don't like rides. What if I fall off and tumble down the green? Come on. He grabs her hand. Bounce with me. Hesitantly, she bounces with him. Fun, I guess you guess. Sometimes I like to pick my ass. She continues to bounce, whereas he slowly stops bouncing. Sometimes I like to pick my nose. Sometimes I like to lick the grass. He sits. Sometimes I like to suck my toes. As he stares at her, she plops down. A problem? I don't like problems. Problems get in the way of the day. She slaps his face. You never listen. You never pay attention. You can't write. You don't know me. I'm going to ask you to climb off my bed and go home. But this is my home. No, it is not. But it is. My lawn, my trees, my sun, and my sky. She slaps his face. Take that back. Take what back? The sun and the sky. I can't. You can. They're mine. No, they're not. How do you suppose they're not? Because they're mine. Well, relatively speaking, this bed is mine too. She slaps him. Take that back. I will not. I said take that back. My bed does not belong to you. This is my home, and I'm commanding you to get off. He slaps her. She slaps him. He slaps her. She slaps him. He slaps her with a backhand. That's unfair. She backhands him so hard he falls off the bed. Go home. Oh, that hurt. He stands. Who taught you to swing like that? Now, who do you think? He crosses to the window. He climbs in. He runs the sound effect, bath water. He places suds in the water. Caroline crosses to the window. She peeks in. Have you missed me, whatever your name is? My name is Niles. No use standing there alone. He reaches out a hand. She takes his hand as she climbs through the window. Thought it kind of me to share my bed. He undresses. He steps into the bath. She undresses. She steps into the bath. She sits behind him. It's a nice bed. A clean bed. You like my back? I do like your back. Be sure to suds up the dip. Are you being naughty? No. Are you sure? Yes. We won't drown, will we? We could, but we won't. She drips water over his head. That tickles. Can I tell you something? He turns to her. Anything you like. Please turn your neck around. He turns away. I killed God. Who is God? Everyone knows God, silly. You never spoke to God? And what does God say? Nothing. How do you know it was nothing? I just do. Why? She pushes him forward. I just do, okay? Okay with me. I don't care if God, whoever God is, spoke to you or not. God never answered when I called out. God was never there. Is God supposed to be there? It's supposed to be everywhere. I never had that problem. The water cool, less suds. Yes, so it seems. I like your back. Can I show you something, Niles? I'd like that. He grabs a towel. He hands her the towel. He grabs a towel for himself. Niles and Caroline are wrapped in the towels. He helps her out of the tub. He helps her out of the window. This way. Caroline and Niles cross the stage lawn. She starts to jump up and down, trying to touch the sun. Come on, it's fun. He jumps up and down. Can't seem to grab a hold of. Try harder, silly. I am. He continues to jump up and down. If you can touch one ray, all the others will follow. I'm trying. If you get me the sun, I promise to bring you the earth. I may need a hand. Here. She claps her hands. He places his foot into her clasped hands. On the count of one, she tries to heave him up, but he falls to the lawn. She stares down at him. You'll never father my children. Father, you're weak. She crosses to a tree. She bangs her forehead against the tree. Don't talk to me ever again. She continues to bang her forehead on the tree as he crawls over to her. He is close to her. He talks to himself. I was wondering, maybe we could visit the lake. Someday visit the lake. Someday. She stops head banging. Well, that would be nice. Yes, it would be. Just you and I. Yes, that would be. We could picnic by the lake. Yes, by the lake. You're mad at me. Why should I be mad at you? I don't know. About being inside. Inside me, silly. Oh, that. Yes, that. You never been inside before? I never found the time. You never found the time? The need. I never found the need, okay? Do you like my hands? As much as you like my back. Will you follow me? As she crosses to the bed, he crosses over to her. She grabs a picnic basket from under the bed. She crosses to a sandy area. She sits. She takes out plates, etc. from the basket. He crosses to her. He stands over her. Spreads out for miles, miles and miles. How deep? Very. How very? Too very. Sometimes I wish I could swim. Same here, Niles. I alone. Watch them. Sink. How did it occur? He drank. She let him. She hands him a drink. He takes the drink. He sips. So your parents, where are they? Down the drain. My father butchered my mother. She tried to slap him away, but he kept axing her into little pieces until all I could see was swirls of blood. He sips. What happened to your father? I never saw him again after that day. He never wrote you. I was young then, very young. He should have written you. What good would that accomplish? He just should have said something. There's nothing left to explain. Maybe there was. I'm sure there was nothing to explain. Come sit by me. He sits by her. She runs her finger around the edge of his wine glass. Will we fail to repeat their mistakes? She sets the wine aside. She eases his head upon her legs. She caresses his hair. You fine, soft hair. I like your fingertips. They remind me of happiness. Happiness is rare. So was my mother. You miss her very much, don't you? He stands. He places his hand out. She takes his hand. Where are we going? You'll see. He crosses with her over to the bed. He stands on the bed as he holds a hand out to her. Let us touch the sky. She gets on the bed. Caroline and Niles bounce up and down on the bed. Higher. He and she bounce higher, till we touch the sun. He continues to bounce. She remains still. Bounce, bounce. No. She plops to sit. No, I don't want to. You don't? Why? 'Cause I don't. He plops to sit. Must be a reason. She turns to him. I don't have to. Well, of course you don't have to, but don't you want to? No, I don't want to end up as who? You know who. Those over there, at the lake. But that's then. This is now. I don't want to. Okay, you don't have to. He wants to touch her. Please don't. So suddenly? That was then. This is now. Please don't do this. Do what? Cut me off. Cut you off. Put me aside. Put you aside. Put me down. I'm not. You are. You're lying. Please. I need someone like you who understands loss. Go home. Hesitantly, Niles crosses to the window. He climbs into the bathroom. She remains staring ahead. He sits on the toilet. He places the typewriter on the rim of the tub. He places a sheet of paper into the typewriter. He stares at the paper. Reluctantly, Caroline crosses to the window. Her head pops up as she has her chin in her hands with elbows on the window pane. She stares at him. What you got there? Nothing. So you're going to type something? Maybe. When will you know? He stares at the paper. Lights fade out. End of scene 1. So that was, it. And I mean, there was a lot to be said there, and it really try to explain a little bit of it anyway. It's called Pageless, and what it really was about was loss. And she had lost her parents, and he had lost his parents. And I was dealing with abstract ideas of like lawn, sun, water, earth, the basic structures of a house. I mean, just basic stuff, real abstract visuals. I was trying to, and everything was like green, brown, white, blue, yellow, very vivid, like almost like super realism as far as the visuals are concerned. That was, anyway, what the set was supposed to be. And but I was dealing with loss, and it was an interesting concept because I was dealing sort of in an abstract way, and I could have done a lot with those characters if I stayed with it. But what I was afraid of, when I got to about page 42, if I can remember right, what I was doing there was I sorted even I have the wording and the rhythm of the pacing of the lines were moving very fast, and when I got to around that 42nd page, around in there, actually was, I think it was like actually in the late 30s, so it was probably around 36, 37, 38, 8th page if I remember right. It started getting a little, it started to slow down. And I don't know if it was because I lost focus or I lost what I was doing with the play. I don't know what happened there. But anyway, it started to, I don't know what the word is, but it's not I wasn't really inspired by anything. I don't know. I just it sort of die on me in a way, sort of got stale, and I tried to. I think I tried to jazz it up with a little bit more wordiness, and can't remember what I did with that. With the what happened there, I can't remember. Anyway, but it just something happened there, and I just shelved it, and I told them I probably can't finish it as a full-length play because I look back on it now, what is it, 17 years later, and I think about it now when I just read that, I see what I was going to do with it, and I just never went that way, and I sort of I probably lost the focus of exactly what I was doing, and my energy level of writing it was probably slowly dying on me in a sense, so it never went anywhere, so I never completed it. But and with the third character that I can't remember what the third character was. I think it was a friend of Niles that I was going to start to develop and elaborate on that character, and something like he falls for Caroline, and then there's a jealousy situation set up. But anyway, if I remember correctly, it was supposed to be really like a tragedy because I think Niles winds up killing Caroline, I think was at the end or something like that. I was going for something because out of jealous rage or some strange thing going on. But anyway, the point is I was dealing with loss, and that's why it's called Pageless, because I was dealing with loss, and but unfortunately it never went anywhere. So Another play that may have been something great that I wound up screwing up and never went anywhere. So through my break, so to speak, in the theater system. Not system. Well, it is a system in a way. But the great thing I liked about La Mama Experimental Dinner Theater, and they're a little bit more systematic now, but back in the 90s and before that, they were very open, and they were extremely, extremely experimental. And you could do anything with them. Like when I did my short play with them, I did a one-act play with them in 1990 called Pure Thought. I think I mentioned that in another video. And it was done all in the nude. And that's the kind of stuff that they put on. And the audiences that they have are extremely receptive to that. And they're looking for something new and very different. I don't know how it is now. I think it became very systematic over maybe the last 10 years. It's been, I haven't read too much about them, but I know it's, for someone that's starting out in the theater industry as a playwright, it's very hard to get your stuff started with them. Whereas in the 90s and before that, they were very open-minded and very welcoming to anybody's ideas. And if you have a play that has is very different and abstract, actually, as abstract as possible, actually, they bought into it. And they're not really like that now, I don't think. Not that much I read about them, but anyway, so that was my little play. I'm going to do one other little play after this video. I'm going to read, and then there's a couple full-length plays that I want to do, and I'm still thinking of reading my other play called Wellspring, but I don't know how. I'm afraid that's going to get flagged on YouTube. I said this in the other video that I did. I'm very afraid that play will be flagged because it's a very graphic piece, and it deals with, I'll tell you what it deals with. It deals with extremely, extremely sensitive issues. It deals with incest. It deals with murder. It deals with prostitution. It deals with race or with bias. It just deals with a lot of sensitive issues, especially the incest. And I actually, in the second act, first scene, it actually this is what's going to probably blow everyone's mind on YouTube. That's why I don't think I'll read it. I may. But the second act, first scene, opens up with a mother and son making love on the stage. Now, of course, I do it under the covers. La Mama Experimental Dinner Theater back in the 90s would do it above the covers with no problem, but now I don't think any theater would do that. There are some experimental theaters in London, in England, that may put stuff like that on, and definitely, like in France, would do something like that. But here in America, I doubt that any theater would do that. Even though it's a very sensitive scene, there's a huge point to be made to it. I mean, there's an actual point to it. So it's not just a mother and son on stage screwing each other under the covers. It has to do with much deeper, a deeper message, I should say. There's a dialogue in that scene there that explains what was going on there, as to why they were why they were doing what they were doing. So anyway, but I don't know if I'm gonna deal. And then it has to deal with, like, I have them. Well, it's done in projector slides projected onto a screen on stage, and it has to do with incest at a much younger age. So it's just extremely sensitive piece, and I've had one theater reject it already. So I sent that out about a little over a year ago, and that was rejected flat. Most of the time, not even some of the time, most of the time I'll get like comments attached to the play that's returned in the self-addressed stamped envelope, and give me some kind of direction. And if I do it this way, we'll probably be interested in developing it, or giving it some kind of cold reading or something like that, or maybe working with you on it. But on that particular play, I didn't receive nothing. All I received was the envelope, the self-addressed stamped envelope, and the play inside. I don't even think they got past the first page, because even the first page pretty much states where the play is going to go. So I don't think they even got past the first page, let alone reading any other pages. Usually a theater will read at least 10 pages, and then if they don't like it by then they they'll scrap it or give it back to you if you have a self-addressed stamped envelope, or they just put it in the garbage, and it'll become probably either they put it through a paper shredder and they use it as stuffing for something, or they just throw it in an incinerator, or just throw it in the garbage. But like I said, probably in that play in Wellspring, they didn't even get past the first page. So I never sent it back out, because I know the reaction I'm going to get. I was thinking to actually send it to France, but I don't know really any theaters there. And let's say if they did accept it in France, I'm in the United States. I never left America in my entire life. I would have to go all the way to France. I may do that. Depends on if they really wanted to do it. But that's really the only reason why I never sent it off to France, because I'm afraid that I would have to travel all the way there, and then I don't know. So I never did. I never sent it out again. I only sent it to one place, and that was it. So anyway, I should, actually think about it, I should have sent it to La Mama, but I don't even know if La Mama will do it. I don't think they're give me 1 second here. I have not looked at La Mama. One second here. La Mama Experimental. I haven't looked at their site for, I don't know, 10 years or so. I haven't looked at their site for a long time. Let me see what kind of stuff they're doing right now. 1 second. I could send it to them. Yeah, they're doing. Yes, they're still doing sort of very experimental stuff, but I could send it to them. They're very strange. They're very different in the stuff that they do. 1 second here. I don't know. I could. Let me look at the staff if I know anyone there still. Man, even the producing director is different. Man, let's see if I can see anyone I know in there. Because in this particular piece, I would have to contact the person. Let me see here. We'll find this person. Wow, names have changed. Ain't that crazy? I don't see any. It's crazy the names of. Wow. Yeah, I don't think I'd have a prayer in hell sending that to them because I don't know anybody that's there anymore. All different names. Oh shit. See, and they don't accept unsolicited manuscripts anymore. They used to do that years ago, but they don't do that anymore. And so it's who you know there that, or someone outside of there that will refer you to them. That's fucked up. God damn, I don't have anybody I know. I'm looking at the production crew. I don't see anybody. Oh well, fuck it. Wow. Ain't that crazy? No. 1 second. That's terrible. Even the master set designer is different. Oh well. But anyway, so, the chances of me sending that out is like, the chances of me doing that, I don't think it ever going to see any stage. But I might do it on YouTube. I'll see what happens. I don't know. I'll see. I might. What I could do is maybe under the video I'll put like a disclaimer there that this is for anyone. Well, definitely age restricted. I mean, I age restrict all my videos because of my cursing or whatever, and sensitive subject matter that I deal with. But in that, I'll probably put down like very sexually graphic and extremely mature, abstract subject matter, and maybe I'll explain a little bit, put it in sort of within context, so people know what they're going to get into if they, because there is a in the terms of service with YouTube. There's actually there's a thing in there that says you can't have anything that's of like sexually graphic, that's any kind of sexual content or anything. And because I'm dealing with incest, which is basically the subject matter, even though I deal with it in a very abstract way and a very intelligent way, actually, I don't think it'll pass the red flags on YouTube. Let's see what happens. Maybe someday I will. Anyway, I'm gonna read one more play of mine, and then I'm gonna do my bananas 7 tomorrow. I've been holding that off, but I'll do my bananas 7 tomorrow. So anyway, guys, have a good night.